everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Sega Sonic Radio. I'm your host, as always, GX, aka Chris, aka the Spin Dash, and surf's up this week. This week's theme is High Tide. We want you to help us beat the heat as we prep for the weekend. And so let's jump right into some requests. We're kicking it off with one from the Karma Collector and another from Mio. Let's take a listen, and I'll see you guys on the other side. That was Wave Ocean the Inlet from Sonic 06 as requested by the Karma Collector, even though it did not show it on the overlay because I needed to fix some things. But yeah, that was the Karma Collector, 1994. Followed up by Dolphin Resort from Sonic Freerider, wrapping it up with Splash Wave J-Arrange version from Outrun 2 SP as requested by Mio. Hey, we're going to kick off the Spinbox with our first question of the night. And the question comes from Clara the Cat over on the SSMB. Clara asks, if you had to pick one beach locale from the series to go for a vacation, which would it be and why? I don't know, do I dare start with the dark answer? So the dark answer for this is I would pick Tokyo 2020 in a version of that world where they did not get COVID. but no, the actual answer is going to be Emerald Coast. Hey, Emerald, like Emerald Coast, the nice thing about, like, it could be Emerald Coast. It could be Tropical Resort. I think the big ones that I would want to go somewhere that actually feels like it's populated, but also I do not trust going to an amusement park from Dr. Eggman, especially considering all the PSAs that come over the loudspeakers. Emerald Coast just feels straightforward. It like has a hotel. It has amusement park that's just like right across the street. I can take a tram and go to the jungle. I could take a boat and go to a crashed aircraft site. That sounds like it'd be a cool thing. They got restaurants. They've got high-end shopping. Yeah, Knuckles in chat brings up they have access to a Chow Garden for some reason. I don't know how. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense that they have access to a Chow Garden, but they do. They also have a big open sewer. Like, I don't know why, but, like, the sewer outlet is just massive and, like, right smack against a big office building. It seems like the nicest place. Like, the only thing you really have to worry about, aside from robots on the beach, is like an orca, but at the same time, just don't go that far from land. Like, don't go that far, and the orca, like, what's the orca gonna do? Beach itself to get you? Ain't gonna do that. It's an orca. It's smarter than that. So yeah, I think it's I would say it is Emerald Coast. Seems like the most sensible solution. Lots of stuff to do. Less chance of death. Less chance of death. Not zero chance, but less chance compared to a lot of other things that you could do. I mean, I guess Green Hill. Green Hill's just pleasant. It seems like it would be a very pleasant place to hang out, but you don't really have, like, a population? I'd certainly like that. Speaking of which, we have Clara's request, followed up by a request from Keibuki over on Blue Sky. So let's take a listen. Kicking it off with some Sonic Rumble. Enjoy! Hey, that was Seaside Hill from Sonic Rumble as requested by Clara the Cat, followed up by Steam Gardens from Super Mario Odyssey, wrapping it up with Water Bike from Sonic Rush Adventure as requested by Kebuki. I think it's about time that we jump over to a quiz. It's a quiz time. Everyone loves a quiz. Everyone loves a quiz. Everyone loves a quiz. Pardon. It's Quiz Zone. Test your Sonic trivia skills. As always, you can guess in chat if you want. If you don't want to guess in chat, you can hide chat. And we'll let you know the answer after it's all over. We'll let you know that answer after, a song to think about it. Here's your question for the first part of the show. Sonic Heroes Ocean Palace features large falling rocks along the side of the level's paths. What animal are those blocks designed to look like? They look like an animal. What animal do they look like? Take a guess if you would like. If not, we'll tell you the answer after Lost Palace from Team Sonic Racing. Enjoy. Once again, that was Lost Palace from Team Sonic Racing. The question, one more time, was Sonic Heroes Ocean Palace features large falling blocks along the side of the level paths. What animals are those blocks designed to look like? And I hope you had a guess. Like, the whole, just so you know, like, the whole island has a big whale motif, including those blocks. It's kind of hard to miss, thinking that maybe it's just some sort of design, but you can kind of see the distinct whale mouth and eyes, and of course the tail. But Ocean Palace, Seaside Hill, both of those have lots of whales like all over the designs, especially if you look in the background, there are entire like islands shaped like whales. Just a whole whale motif. So hope you enjoyed that trivia. We've got more on the way later. But next up, we've got two more requests. One of them from MFA and another from Sonic Trainer. We're jumping over to some Mario Kart 8. So enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in a bit. Hey, that was Cheap Cheap Beach from Mario Kart 8, as requested by MFA, followed up by Maracana, or Prize Machine, from Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. Wrapping up with Tropical Coast Zone 1 from Sonic Lost World, as requested by Sonic Trainer. I think it's about time to reach back into the Spinbox for a letter from Young Sonic Fan. Young Sonic Fan asks, how do you think Big the Cat and Froggy met? How do you think Big the Cat and Froggy met? I would say while fishing. That seems like a really safe assumption. It wouldn't be shocking if it was just the same thing that happens throughout Sonic Adventure 1, where he just caught a frog and said, this frog's my friend now. Look at this happy frog. He's a happy frog. But I think the real answer is truly unknowable. Like the song says, hey big guy, hey little guy, can you tell me who came first? To which the answer is, sorry, I don't know. We're simply natural. I think that speaks to the relationship between Froggy and Big quite well. Who knows? They are simply natural. And then something about looking left, right, up, and down. Well, you don't have to look left, right, up, and down for our next set of songs, including a request from Young Sonic Fan, as well as one from Mr. Cypher 077. So let's head to some Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and I'll catch you guys after. That was Hydrocity or Hydro City Zone Act 1 from Sonic 3 as requested by Young Sonic Fan, followed up by Emerald Hill, two-player version from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, wrapping it up with the title of Vanquished from Mr. Cypher 077. Oh, I think it's about time for a music quiz. Music quiz sounds nice right about now. Hope you got your music hat on for music listening. As always, you know, here at Sega Sonic Radio, we always make sure to put on our music hats in order to listen to music and, more importantly, think about the music that we are listening to so that we can properly identify it. Just as I'm about to do here, ask you to do here. It's time for the audio cue. What Sega published game is this song from? As always, you are welcome to guess in chat. If you don't want to guess in chat, you certainly do not have to, but it's certainly an option. As a quick little hint, this Wii sequel has the same name as the Dreamcast original. I tried to give you as big a hint as I reasonably could for this one. But hey, you know a platform, and you know a platform that the series has also been on. You're gonna have to think about that while you listen, and see if you can figure out what song this is. So, did you happen to figure it out? What Sega published game is this song from? If you happened to guess that it's the Wii version of Sega Bass Fishing, you will have gotten it. This is specifically the bridge area from that game, and ignore the fact that the image on here is badly cropped. But yeah, Sega Bass Fishing, you know, series originating as reasonably early as the Dreamcast. It's kind of best known for having the crazy fishing rod controller originally on Dreamcast, and then they attempted to replicate that on Wii to, I don't know, I'll call it mixed success. The Wii's motion controls weren't fantastic, but I don't know. As far as I know, Sega Bass Fishing, the original, is a reasonably well-regarded game among their Dreamcast library. It was one of the games that they brought back in the 360 era to, you know, those platforms as well as PC until its recent delisting. It's kind of one of the games that I look at and think, there's a lot of these games that might get listed back up again in some way, shape, or form. But Sega Bass Fishing, I'm a little bit less confident in. It seems neat. It seems neat for what it is, but I don't know. But if we want to keep rolling into something that is neat, we're going to keep with the Sega Bass Fishing, play another song, as well as listen to a request. We've got requests in the next segment from Pocket Ellery and Hasbomi. But before that, here's a bit more Sega Bass Fishing. Catch you guys on the other side. Not the song. Let's go to the song. That was Feel the Heat from Sega Bash Fishing Wii version, followed up by Surfing from Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, wrapping it up with Outrun Bay from Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transforms, as requested by both Pocket Ellery and Hasbomi. Oh, I think it's about time to reach back into the Spinbox and see what we can pull out, and we've got a letter from Kiana the Hedgehog. Kiana asks, since Sonic can't swim in the main games, my question is, why does Sonic wear a life jacket in the Mario and Sonic Olympic Games series? Well, I think you kind of answered your question in the question. Sonic wears the life jacket because he can't swim. I suppose in most situations in the Olympics that would kind of be a disqualifier if you needed aid in actually swimming in the form of a flotation device. I don't know the rules that surround that, but in the mystical world where Sonic can get sent back to the far-flung year of 1985, back when he was still a 16-bit sprite and Mario was an 8-bit sprite, that they have allowed him to wear a life vest so that he does not simply sink like a rock. I believe in some of the versions, especially some of the earlier versions, his style of, like, every character had, like, a style of swimming, and I think his was just, like, water walking. Like, not walking on top of water or something like that, but, like, walking under the water, like, on the floor of the pool. So, yeah, I think that's why. Like, hey, you can't swim. He's gotta float. We don't want to fish a dead hedgehog out of the pool at the Olympics. That's not a fun time. Thank you for your question and your request as well, Kiana. We've got one coming up from Kiana. We also got a request coming in from Knuckles87 over on the staff. So let's jump over to some Sonic Adventure 2, and I'll catch you guys on the other side.
I'm in a deep cut. I'm seeing skulls that burn, they tryna cut me off. Avoiding my luck, I'm feeling kinda stuck. I'm in narrow hallways, running like it's a ball game. Hand tracks be tracking me to different doorways. In a maze, and I don't know what to do. Guaranteed though, I'ma find the emeralds. Don't call me Knuckles for nothing, I get loose. Sure beats fighting with them foes all the time, but I gotta do it, they always stay out of line. Sometimes I wanna just chill and land, but I'm the protector of the emeralds and gems. Stay knuckled up in a deep cut. I'm seeing skulls that burn, they tryna throw me off. Avoiding my luck, I'm feeling kinda stuck. Don't call me Knuckles, give me a box.
Hey, we're back. That was Dive into the Mellow from Sonic Adventure 2, as requested by Keanu the Hedgehog, followed up by Ocean View, a fantastic overclocked remix. You can find it in so many more remixes over at ocremix.org. Wrapping it up with the credits theme from Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future from Dreamcast, as requested by Knuckles87. I think it's about time to wrap up our quizzes for the night. We've got one more for you, and it's our Triple Trouble. As always on the Triple Trouble, 3 of these things have something in common. One of them does not. You just need to tell me which of these things does not belong. I give you a hint, and as always, hey, guess in chat if you want. If you don't want to guess in chat, you don't have to. Just minimize chat, or, we'll tell you the answer after this thing. Your topic is Sonic in Sonic Rush. And your choices are yes, yeah, awesome, okay. Which of these does not belong? While you decide, and here's some back-to-back Cash remix from Sonic Generations 3DS. Catch you guys in a bit.
Back to back, and spinning on it back to back, on the turntables back to back, and spinning on it back to back, on it back to back, and spinning on it back to back, on the turntables back to back, and spinning on it back to back, on it back to back, and spinning on it back to back, on the turntables back to back, and spinning on it back, spinning on the turntables, spinning on it back.
Hey, that was back-to-back Cash remix from Sonic Generations 3DS. Once again, the question is, which of these things does not belong? The topic being Sonic in Sonic Rush. Your choices are yes, yeah, awesome, and okay. And Chad had some guesses, but nobody quite hit it. It's awesome. These are things that Sonic shouts during his tricks. He shouts many things. He does not shout awesome. Awesome is one of the things stated in the trick segments of Sonic Colors, but not in Sonic Rush. In fact, here are some of the things that he says in the game as his voice lines.
Oh, cool! Yes! I got it! Yes! All right! Here we go! Yeah! Okay! Let's do it! How is that? See ya, Blaze? Sonic the Hedgehog! Sonic and Blaze! Blaze! It's closing in on you!
Is that it? Yes! Should we try this again? Sonic Rush!
I couldn't exactly tell you why some of those are a higher fidelity than others, but they sure are. So, awesome is not one of them. And if you've ever played Sonic Rush, you'll kind of recognize, like, just the rapid spouting of a million exclamations anytime you're trying to jam on the trick button to power up your boost. We've got some more requests coming at you. One of them is going to be from Sliver Was Here. And we also got one from Quirt X Games. So let's take a listen. It's time to go on a Sonic adventure. See you guys in a bit.
Oh, it's a windy and sunny day, and I can hear the faces
Hey, that was Lazy Days Living in Paradise from Sonic Adventure, as requested by Sliver Was Here, followed up by World Map from Tails Adventure, wrapping it up with Seaside Hill, as requested by Quirt X Games from Sonic Heroes. I think we got one more Spinbox. Let's fish in, see if we can find a Spinbox. Hey, we have a Spinbox. This one's from Sliver Was Here, even though I seem to position it incorrectly. It's fine, whatever. Sliver Was Here asks, I feel like there was probably more than enough negative questions recently. How about something more positive? What positive things can you say about the current state of Sonic? Surprisingly, a fair bit, though I wouldn't say, like, all of it is a slam dunk for all fans. I think the series is in a pretty good place right now. It's not always producing things that I like, but it feels like it's much less tenuous. Like, I think there's real honesty to Izuka going out there and saying, like, yeah, we were in a pretty bad spot, like, about less than 10 years ago. Like, it was a rough time, and things are, like, night and day now. And a lot of that feels like, hey, it was probably very healthy for the series to have taken some time without releasing a big major game. I may not love Sonic Frontiers, but I do think that it was a smart decision for that game to kind of pursue the type of gameplay it was. That it needed a bit of freshening up, and it got a bit of freshening up. I'd say the series... The Sonic team developed games are in a much more technically stable place than they were, maybe not like 10 years ago, but certainly like 15 to 20 years ago. Things aren't nearly as just straight up absolute jank. And Sliver mentioned Sonic Boom. I freaking love the Sonic Boom series. Sonic Boom series is great. It's probably my favorite of the cartoons. I also think Sonic Prime's really good. Like, that might be the most controversial statement to make here, but, like, I think Sonic Prime is a legitimately good series. I think it has awkward humor, and I think that really bothers some people. The kind of people that would be annoyed with SpongeBob being in a racing game, but if you don't take the series deathly seriously, like, Sonic Prime is a series that has actual themes. Like, it's built around Sonic, you know, making a massive world-destroying mistake and having to spend time actually fixing it, and doing so by learning to recognize the ways in which his relationships were unhealthy and making positive adjustments. Like, the core ending of that series is, like, Sonic had to be unremittingly sympathetic in the face of an opponent who knows nothing but cynicism. And, you know, I think that's a really cool thing to end a show on. Yeah, Knuckles brings up partnerships. You know, like, partnerships is the degree of partnerships that Sonic's getting into is probably very healthy for the kind of thing it is. Like, if you look at SpongeBob being in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, like, Sonic's kind of becoming a a character on the tier of like a SpongeBob and appearing in the type of places that a SpongeBob brand collaboration would appear. And it's not like something that's always going to appeal to me, but I think it's, you know, it's probably good broadly for the brand. I think IDW is a rather good book. It's one that I'm taking a break of because it isn't always doing stuff for me, and I'm not always in the right mindset to really enjoy what it is doing. But I think what it is doing, like, when as someone who started rather early with Archie, I think I started on issue 23, so it would have been like the second or third year of the comic. Like, it did not have to go through the same growing pains that Archie did. It started... It doesn't get to go as crazy or as world-buildy, and that, you know, that still disappoints me, and it's one of the reasons why, like, hey, it can't beat my feelings about Archie. But I think if you are, if you're someone who's newer to the franchise, you could pick up that comic way more easily than you ever could Archie. Like, it's immediately more readable. And that's kind of like, that's what I think of the series right now, broadly, and where I think it's in a much healthier place is, I don't think it's as immediately appealing to the people who want it to be this big, long, serious, serialized thing where everything has the tension of a Sonic Adventure 2, but I think if you're coming to it as someone who watched some of the movies or caught some of the comics or just was like, hey, I liked Frontiers, I think you can jump into any other branch of the series and find some good stuff, find some inviting stuff, find some stuff that's going to... that's not going to really push you away in the same way that a lot of the prior media with Sonic was so disparate. Like, you don't have to understand what's going on in SatAM to like, I should say, let me rephrase that. You don't have to have a broad sense of what the premise of SatAM is in order... Or you do kind of generally have to understand the premise of SatAM to kind of watch and appreciate what it's doing. I don't think that's true for most of the other things. And I think a big part of that, you know, I think some of IDW's weakness is also a strength in that it's much more easier to onboard people. Like, you don't have to have the same barriers to understand what's going on, to just kind of get a sense of like, okay, I know these characters through cultural osmosis. I can pick this up and start on an arc and not be absolutely bewildered about what's going on with it. So, yeah, like I said, I think the series is more inviting than it's ever been. And I think that's healthy and strong. And even if it kind of doesn't mean you have to push it, like it doesn't mean that as me, a longtime adult fan who is approaching 40, you know, maybe it doesn't nostalgia pander to me in the same way that it used to, but I also have an understanding and appreciation of, like, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. I'm 40, or I'm nearly 40, I should say. I had my experience with Sonic, and I'm happy to pass a different Sonic into a different generation and let them have their Sonic and see what interesting things they do with it. And, you know, yeah, it's neat. What else is neat is our next set of songs. We're gonna listen to some Knuckles Chaotix. How does that sound as our last couple tracks of the night? Let's enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side. That was Seascape from Knuckles Chaotix, followed up by Bottom Feeders from Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, wrapping it up with Lagoon City Zone Act 2 from Sonic Superstars. Wrapping it up with some nice serene tracks at the end of the episode. Hey, as always, my opinions are our own, but the show broadly is under the banner of Sonic Stadium over at sonicstadium.org, one of the internet's oldest Sonic fan communities. We've got news coverage going on, plenty of coverage of the big crazy things that happened on Sonic's birthday, like, oh, there was so much stuff going on. We covered a whole bunch of it. All of the stuff happening surrounding Sonic, Crossworlds, Racing, Crossworlds, Sonic, Crossworlds, Racing. As well as, stuff like video footage of various mobile social games. If you want to see a character that you can get unlocked in one of those games, Knuckles has been pretty good with that as of late, showing off some cool stuff. Just so much going on. We have a Discord. You can join our Discord, chat with myself or, several other like-minded Sonic fans. And with that, I think we're going to close things out tonight. I think it's a good idea to close things out. Decide to wrap things up with some Emerald Coast tonight. Closing out with Windy and Ripley from Sonic Adventure. Hope you enjoyed. I will catch you guys next week. And I think it's finally safe to say, welcome to the weekend. Hey, we didn't have a single microphone mishap this episode. Not a one. I think that means we deserve a treat. Let's say we have a treat before we head out. Peace, everyone. Catch you next week.